I'm only around the corner. Every Monday night, I'm in a wonderful room called Don't Tell Mama in West Hollywood. It's a great showcase every Monday night, singing different singers, Edith Piaf and all kinds of gypsy-ish singers. I have an opera singer even, a couple of them. But that's where I'm at. Brandon James, how are you?
I'm good, Skip.
This book,
good to
Brandon
see you
James, so you got to come and see the show at Don't Tell Mama.
Oh, I will, for sure.
We got to tell everybody. I just don't know about it. This is Brandon's new book about his mother. Look at that cover. I love that cover.
That is one of the greatest photos, one of my favorite photos.
Uh-huh.
And that's the magic of photography. You catch a moment and it lives forever.
Jeannie Carmen, My Wild, Wild Life. It's a very
right.
Did she really have a wild life?
She had a very, very wild life.
Like what, for instance? What's the wildest she ever had?
She was partying in the 1950s before girls were really partying out on their own and having a good time, having relationships. She was kind of the love 'em and leave 'em type. You know, long before that was acceptable for women to do. And because she was independent, she was a model, she was an actress, she was an ace golfer.
Ace golfer. She really was. The first woman, matter of fact. Right?
Yeah, the first trick shot golfer.
A trick.
And she actually got involved with the mafia. This guy, Johnny Roselli, recruited her.
Well, talk about all that.
Johnny said, hey, with a girl that looks like you, nobody would believe you're a scratch golfer. So let's go to Vegas and hustle these old, arrogant guys that think they know it all. And they had this incredible time in Vegas.
Your mother was on Broadway. She did lots of Broadway shows. She was a nightclub performer as a chorus girl. She was everything. And a B actress, did B movies.
Yes.
But she wasn't a B actress. But she made a name for herself.
Because she was a model, so she never really was out to be an actress. Like, Hollywood recruits models all the time to be in movies.
Marilyn Monroe, but see.
Marilyn wanted to be an actress. My mom never really wanted to be an actress. I mean, she obviously, because she was so pretty.
I consider your mother's, I love your mother's work. I've known her, I've interviewed her. I think Jeannie Carmen is a very interesting lady. But I didn't believe all these great stories she was telling us.
Let's take a look at this
you brought
clip.
me some videos, and I'd like my audience to see between.
The E! Channel did a TV biography on her, which is an amazing tribute. How many people in the world get their own 1-hour TV biography just on their own life?
Right.
So let's take a look at the intro, and that kind of explains.
One heck of a woman.
Yeah.
That kind of explains the whole story.
Okay. Okay. Let's start. Okay. This is, you brought me a clip, okay?
Changing terror, such sudden shocks. For 10 years, Jeannie Carmen screamed, danced, and fought her way through dozens of cheapy Hollywood flicks.
I hate tramps, male or female. Now get out of here.
Her impressive body of work made her the queen of the B-movies and a first-class cult figure.
He said, how did you do it, baby? I said, it wasn't easy, baby.
In the next hour, we will tell you the incredible story of Jeannie Carmen, whose life plays out like a pulp paperback.
One?
You know, I always take two.
She was a hick beauty queen, a Broadway chorus girl, a stunning pinup.
It's like having sex, actually.
She was a mobster's girlfriend.
Just as I walked up, he tosses this guy over the top of the Sands Hotel.
She was a trick shot golfer extraordinaire, and probably the only woman to share a bed with Sinatra, Elvis, and the wicked, wicked Errol Flynn.
And I see his bedroom with a bed right underneath with a whole orgy of naked people.
Jeannie was also a dangerously close friend of Marilyn Monroe and the Kennedys.
She was told that she would end up in a body bag like Marilyn if she didn't keep her lips zipped up, leave town.
If you like your starlets spicy, sexy, and sassy, this is the story for you.
Girlie, that's dangerous.
Depends on how you look at it.
The E! True Hollywood Story.
That's how beautiful she was those days. She has beauty, just a natural beauty.
Natural beauty. Yeah. Grew up poor in the South, went to New York.
Mansfield, what's her name, Mamie Van Doren,
Yeah.
and her. They were the three hot blondes.
They were.
Marilyn
and this was
Monroe.
all before plastic surgery. Girls from this era, that's why
Right.
they were so revered. You either had it or you didn't. You couldn't go buy it like they do nowadays.
And your mother was so honest about her interviews that
Yeah.
she talked about not just Marilyn. She talked about people like gangsters, mafias, and stuff like that. She used to go with
Yeah,
the real mafia.
Oh yeah, real mafia. And the mafia was actually involved in Marilyn's life at the end of her life. And we'll talk about that. Let me just
Okay.
show you this clip of my mom with Marilyn because they were good friends. They lived next door to each other right up here off Doheny, right before Marilyn
Is that
died.
where they lived up there?
Yeah, it was 882 Doheny, right up the street here. And they actually went to a nude beach together with Bobby Kennedy.
Oh, great. You have something about that. I
Yeah,
think.
let's take a look
Well,
at
let's
it.
take a look at what you have, okay? Do it again.
Marilyn's friend, Jean Carmen, remembers the first time she saw Bobby at Marilyn's.
He walked in through the door, and I guess she must have heard this commotion going on because she's just opened up the bathroom, and out came the towel, and she flew out with the towel on her head.
Hi, Bobby.
She ran over and jumped into his arms, and they kissed madly. And then she said, "Have you met Jeannie?" And he said, "Yes."
Where John Kennedy had the good sense to end his long relationship with Marilyn, RFK showed no such restraint. Jean Carmen remembers what must have been their most audacious romp.
And we put a beard on him and a hat and a goatee, and you know. And he looked in the mirror and he said, "Wow." He said, "I think I could get away with this." So I said, "So, how about it? Let's all go to the beach." I had this convertible, and I had the top down, so they got in the back, and they'd kiss, and they'd wave, and just really living dangerously. And we zipped down to the beach, and we all stripped down and ran out into the water. And after they found out they could get away with that, they thought, "Wow, this is the greatest." They were getting a real rush. So we walked up and down the beach, and all of us naked as picked birds, and no one paid the least attention.
This may have been fun and games for the Attorney General, but according to Jeannie Carmen, her friend Marilyn was falling hard.
You know, I never knew Marilyn loved Bobby Kennedy. I thought she loved
She loved JFK, but JFK was a womanizer. He was
Sexually,
charming
sexually.
He wasn't emotionally
involved with her.
involved with her.
Yeah,
it was,
I see.
Just hook up and let's have some fun and then cut out.
But Bobby was very sincere in love with her.
Yes, because Bobby really wasn't the womanizer that JFK was. He was, because he had been, married to one woman.
Right.
And he developed an emotional attachment to Marilyn. When Jack Kennedy sent Bobby to break off the relationship, he felt sorry for Marilyn. She was vulnerable. She was beautiful. Everything that he had never experienced.
You have a
in someone.
sister. Your sister's beautiful.
Yeah,
What's her name? Hello, darling.
Hi, I'm Jade.
My sister Jade.
Jay. I love Jay. You're beautiful.
Thanks.
You're really buxom like your mother is. Be
I
proud
am.
what you are. I think it's great.
I'm Little Carmen.
You're a little Carmen.
They call me Little Carmen.
You're beautiful. Tell me, are you an actress also? Or
I
what?
am an actress.
You are?
Yes.
I see. And you're a writer.
She's a wild one too. Yeah,
Is
I'm
the
a
wild-
writer.
I like to say you're both wild.
We are wild.
Yeah.
Well-
We look like Jeannie, don't we? Look at us.
Yeah, you do. I see
only live
Jeannie's there.
once.
Because I used to see your brother all the time at Mateo's on Sunday nights.
I was there too.
Yes, you were, but mostly your brother was there.
yeah, he was.
And
I
speaking
love
of Mateo's, we used to see Peter Lawford there when I was a teenager. Peter Lawford loved Mateo's. Frank
Everybody,
Sinatra
Frank
loved
Sinatra's
Mateo's.
hangout,
Dean
they
Martin,
all
the
did.
whole Rat Pack
The one on Westwood
hung out
Boulevard.
at Mateo's. And mentioning Peter Lawford is the key person, the link that brought Marilyn and the Mafia and the Kennedys together. Without Peter, those three groups would have never hooked up.
Did you know Peter? People don't know about Peter Lawford. Peter Lawford is gay. You know that.
I didn't know that.
There's no gay
I was
books
young
about
at
him.
the time, so
But he is actually like women, but basically he liked men. He wanted to be Marilyn. He did. He really wanted to be Marilyn.
Well, the role
Peter.
he played in the Kennedy family was he would hook the Kennedys up with girls, because you know
He was a
Peter.
pimp too.
Well, Peter knew all
Yeah.
the pretty girls in Hollywood. He knew all the models, he knew all the actresses, and he knew Frank
came from
Sinatra,
England,
and he knew the Kennedys. So he was the perfect host, and he had this house in
charming.
Santa Monica on the beach that was very isolated back in the 60s.
Where in Malibu was it?
Well, it was in Santa Monica, right on the border of
Oh,
Malibu.
okay.
And he was the one who hooked my mom and Marilyn up with JFK and tried to set up a threesome with him. And we actually have a little clip on that,
JFK
too.
liked threesomes, did he?
Well, apparently. That's,
two women. He likes to.
let's
most men like to watch two women carry on. Did you know that?
My mom never did that.
No.
My mom was she was wild like me, but she
you
liked
like
to
it,
show it off.
you-
but no,
you-
but
no,
good girl.
really, okay.
We're good. Like to show it off though. Love
Okay,
to
that's
show
good
it off.
enough. You brought another clip.
yeah,
Down.
let's check it out.
Okay, let's go.
Are we going to get it? Is it too hot for public access television? No, here it is.
Nothing's too hot for public access. This is True Hollywood Stories.
A president on the prowl.
He loved the ladies, they loved him.
A destructive love triangle.
But she just fell in love with Bob.
Peter Mansell, that guy?
Death.
I've never believed Marilyn killed herself.
From JFK to John, the story of Washington's sexiest men and Hollywood's hottest women continues.
I think a lot of people would have been better off if the Kennedys had just stayed in Washington.
Don't miss part 2 of The Kennedys, Power, Seduction, and Hollywood.
To Marilyn Monroe's friend, Jeannie Carmen. After the party, Jack had an unusual but sexy proposition.
I was taking a shower, and Marilyn had already taken her shower. And she came in and said, Jack wants to have sex with the two of us. And I said, what? I don't do that kind of thing. Anyway, I went out. He was sitting there in a pair of silk shorts and with this really naughty look. And he said something like, consider this a new frontier.
Jack didn't get the menage a trois he wanted, but that night did mark the beginning of a long-term relationship between Monroe and the future president.
Huh, interesting.
So that is what took place at Lawford's Beach House. He's the one that would have the parties. He would, that was his role in the family, was setting up the Kennedys.
People together.
Yeah.
Tell me something, you two at home with your mother. Stories, she had some great stories. What did you learn from your mother's stories she was telling you growing up?
What did I learn from my mother's stories?
Yeah, stories, some of the
she
stories.
She had an amazing life, and you can do anything you want. You can be classy. She was just a classy lady, She loved to show it off.
Right.
But she had pure class.
You like to put your mother on a pedestal, I see.
I do. She was
you don't
the
want
best
her
thing in the whole world.
because she has these big boobs, you think it's tearing people
Why do you
down.
think
It
everything has to
isn't.
do with
It's not
boobs?
tearing down. It's natural. That your mother had a natural beauty
naturally,
about her.
yeah.
You know what I
She
mean?
was
So you should be very
100%
proud.
natural.
Yeah, be proud. So what?
I am proud.
But
I'm proud that she was a classy lady.
She was.
Sexy, classy lady.
She had everything going for her. Jeannie Carmen
was
had everything going.
wild.
What was your favorite movie of hers? You have a favorite?
Guns Don't Argue.
Uh-huh.
Guns Don't Argue.
Is it good?
And The Three Outlaws. And I loved The Monster.
The Monster.
of
The
Piedras
Monster really made her,
Blancas.
didn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
that has become a cult classic with
Yeah.
a following all of its own. The Monster of Piedras Blancas.
Right.
They filmed it in Northern California, just south of Hearst Castle, in a little town called Cayucas. The monster looks similar to the creature from the Black Lagoon because it was made by the same guy.
Yeah.
So, any artist, their works, it looks similar.
Yeah.
That's
Brandon, tell me, growing up with your mother as a boy, you're a little boy.
Yeah.
Growing up, you lived in Malibu. You live in Malibu, both of you,
No,
right?
no. We lived in Newport Beach.
Always Newport Beach?
Yeah.
Okay.
And which is kind of the Malibu of Orange County.
Yeah. Okay, so living in Newport Beach, what she used to tell you about Hollywood?
Well, when we were growing up, she didn't really talk about it. She had left that part of her life
Oh,
behind.
she played golf? Tell me about the golfing then.
When we were growing up, all that we knew is we had a hot mom, and all my friends wanted to drop by.
Oh, really?
When I wasn't home, and that pissed me off.
And we knew she modeled.
Did that upset you?
Well, I mean.
And how about you?
No, I wanted them all to come down.
Ah, okay.
My mom was so cool. And my 21st birthday, she took me to the Tina Turner concert front row. And for some reason, his guitarist came down stage and got us. My mom went up on stage with me at the Greek Theater, and her boobs fell out.
Did they really?
And the
I
audience,
love it.
3,000 people were screaming like crazy.
Great.
She was just so cool.
How old were you then?
21. It was
21.
my 21st
And how about
birthday.
you? Were you there?
I was there, but I stayed in the audience.
Oh, yeah, he stayed in the audience. Me and my mom went up and charged.
Had a good time.
Oh, my gosh. When I was 16, I could hang out there. My girlfriends wanted, they're like, let's hang out with your mom tonight.
I like the title of the book. You call it My Wild, Wild Life.
Because it really was. Because the things, you know, nowadays everyone's doing crazy, wild stuff. Because of the internet, everybody knows about everything. Everybody can do everything.
But she was Sinatra's, one of Sinatra's girlfriends.
She was.
Come on.
She was.
Sinatra had a lot of girls, but he really liked Jeannie Carmen. I know, because at Mateo's, he grabbed her one evening before dinner. Oh, Jeannie, at the entrance of the Mateo's.
Yeah,
she was
he loved my mom because she reminded him of Ava Gardner in the sense that she was from the South, very down to earth.
She's Southern, huh?
Yeah.
Where?
Arkansas.
Arkansas, an Arkansas girl, huh?
And she was very independent, like Ava Gardner was, very defiant. So if Frank would do something she didn't like, she didn't just wither. She would stand up to him, and Frank liked that. Because a lot of women don't stand up to powerful men. You know, everybody kind of kisses their butt.
And she was not a hillbilly either.
No.
As usually from Arkansas, they're hillbillies, rednecks.
You wouldn't even know it unless you told me.
No, I never knew. I never knew Jeannie Carmen. Is that your real name, Jeannie Carmen?
Yeah,
her real
that's
name?
her real name.
Is it really? And you're Brandon James.
Yes, I'm Brandon James.
Where did Brandon James come from?
Well, that's, you know, when I went to USC Film School, that's just the name that I went
So
with.
tell me something. You're doing a move. They're doing a movie about Jeannie Carmen from this book?
We've had many offers to do movies, but I want it to be right. I want it to be with the right studio, the right group of producers. Otherwise, it'll get ruined, and then it just disappears.
The New York pen-up queen. She started in New York.
Started in New York. She was a rival of Betty Page in the 50s. They were doing men's magazines kind of before they were famous.
She modeled too.
She modeled and did all those risque little
Confidential magazines and all that.
She's done been on 100 magazines, over 100 magazines.
Your mother's? Yeah, really?
Over 100.
Now you mentioned Frank Sinatra and the wildlife. I just wanted to get this in. With regard to Marilyn Monroe, Frank Sinatra had actually set them up in apartments at his triplex that was up here.
Oh, really?
Off Doheny. Frank owned it. So the last weekend before Marilyn died, she went to the Cal Neva Lodge, and Frank was there, and Sam Giancana was there. It's a crazy weekend, booze, pills, partying, and Marilyn hooked up with Sam Giancana. She had sex with Sam Giancana at the Cal Neva Lodge. She told Sam Giancana about JFK and Bobby Kennedy.
Right.
That triggered the end of her life. So the Kennedys didn't kill her, it was the mob, but the Kennedys covered up.
You actually both believe that, huh?
Yes.
The mob did this.
Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look at what happened.
Okay, I like to see. Let's carry on. Okay. Show the next
In Chicago, former FBI agent Bill Romer got word of Marilyn's last weekend.
I learned this from a microphone that I helped place in the headquarters of Giancana in a western suburb of Chicago. And just before Marilyn died, the weekend before she died, Giancana indicated that he and Sinatra had taken her to the Cal Neva Lodge at Lake Tahoe, where Giancana had sex with her repeatedly during the weekend. Much to the dismay, apparently, of Marilyn. I think she was kind of in a fog at that particular time, and she was very humiliated and depressed.
And presumably one can speculate, talking, and what she talked about most of all at that time was her relationship with Robert Kennedy. So one can assume, since Sam Giancana was there, that he heard her talking about this, that he was close to the Kennedys' most intimate secrets. This just a week before she died.
So in life, people have sex with people, and they get drunk, and they regret it.
Right. Did your mother drink at all? A lot?
Yeah, she drank. I mean, she wasn't like an alcoholic.
A little bit.
So Marilyn regretted having sex with Sam Giancana, but she wasn't suicidal.
Why would she regret it?
Well, because he was gross, and she was like, I can't believe, she told my mom, I can't believe, you know, I effed Sam Giancana. That's disgusting. She's disappointed in herself, like a lot of times people hook up with people and then regret it. But she wasn't suicidal, she was angry. But that weekend led to what came next. And let's just take a look at this next.
Okay, okay, go ahead.
And now let's look at what we know happened on Marilyn Monroe's last night. Some of this is certain, and some merely backed by the weight of evidence. From all that is known, here now is what happened to Marilyn Monroe on her last day on Earth, August 4th, 1962.
Good night, honey.
8 p.m. Mrs. Murray retires to a bedroom, and Marilyn remains in her bedroom with her phone. 8:30 p.m. Peter Lawford voices his concern for Marilyn to his agent. Milton Rutan, Marilyn's attorney, calls and speaks with Mrs. Murray, who assures him everything is fine. Marilyn continues telephoning friends. 10 p.m.
Hello?
Jeannie Carmen gets her third call of the day from Marilyn, asking her to come over. Carmen declines. 10:15 p.m. Bobby Kennedy makes a second visit, along with Peter Lawford. Bobby demanding to know, where is it? Desperately trying to find something. The diary, or tapes, or bucking devices.
I get it, no!
I'm not leaving without it. Tell me.
No!
The wiretappers hear Marilyn bumping into the furniture and stumbling. It also sounds like Marilyn is being subdued. 10:30 p.m. RFK leaves for the last time, and the mob killers make their move. As they enter the house, Marilyn is already in a haze from the sedatives she has been given. The killers have no trouble overpowering her and administering the lethal drug. Marilyn lapses into a terminal coma.
Did they find the red book?
No, they never found the diary.
So it's still out there in the diary?
Well, here's what happened. The night that Marilyn got killed, Peter Lawford and Bobby Kennedy went to her house and they did a sweep. That's the cover-up to get rid of any evidence linking Marilyn to the jail. They didn't kill Marilyn, but the mob set it up so that it would look like she committed suicide over Bobby. They didn't think that they were going to go in there and get rid of all the evidence and go to extraordinary lengths to cover up their involvement. And, you know, this is all hard for people to believe, but, you know.
It's hard for me to believe.
Well, you look at President Clinton and Monica Lewinsky, that's hard to believe.
Yeah, that would be hard for me too.
Over the desk in the
but
Oval
it did
Office,
happen.
That's hard to believe. And the senator in New York texting naked pictures, just complete strength. I mean, when it comes to sex, men do crazy
that's
things.
what life is all about.
Even the ambulance driver. There was no ambulance that went to any hospital to her address that night that she died.
Really?
There was no ambulance.
There wasn't?
Yeah.
There was an ambulance that went to Marilyn's house.
But there was no
record
document. There was no document.
What she means, there was
there was an ambulance, but there was no document coming from any hospital that night. So everything was set up. Even they had it set
at
up
the
for
beginning.
The ambulance.
I see. Oh well. Go ahead.
Now, I just want to talk really quickly here about the revival. Like, suddenly, my mom, we were living in Newport Beach. Nobody really knew she was an actress. And suddenly, she was rediscovered by this writer who was writing a book about Marilyn Monroe. He found her. She didn't go looking for him. They came to her.
They found her,
And then it all came together that she was the actress, the pinup model. And if you look at this last clip from the E! channel, that kind of tells the whole story.
Is this the last clip now?
Yeah,
coming up?
This is the last one.
We'd love to see it.
Jeannie's oldest son, Brandon, made an interesting discovery in the basement of their Scottsdale home.
My mom had a big cardboard box filled with all this stuff, these magazine photos and magazine covers and movie stills that she kept in the closet. And I remember going in there one time and I opened it up and I started looking through it and I thought, this is cool. This is great stuff.
He said, it seems like you've done a lot more than you tell us you've done. And they're already out of school by then, out of college. And he said, I'm going to start looking around and see what's happening with you? At that point, Paul Parla came into my life.
In 1995, film buff Paul Parla brought Jeannie to memorabilia shows and to the attention of adoring fans all over the world. And the legend was reborn.
She is an icon in her own way, as exemplifying the beauty of the 1950s starlet.
She's really basically the same 18-year-old girl who bagged Frank Sinatra for a good time, and she's that way today. She's got these great stories to tell. And whether you believe them or not, she's part of the Hollywood mythology. She's right in there with the Kennedys and Marilyn, and she's sort of just part of the mix. I love her. I think she's fascinating.
Movies, I can take or leave. I wasn't that great. But I was a great golfer, I was a great pinup, and I was a great mother, and I'm proud of it.
Beautiful clips.
Okay, the biographer, did you see all those people that would come to conventions just to say hello to her? Now, the biographer at the end of that clip, Randy Taraborelli, he's #1 New York Times best-selling biographer.
Right, he is.
Written books about Michael Jackson, you name it, everyone. I love what he said about her at the end. That sums her up better than anything I could ever say. He said, basically, she's the same 18-year-old girl that bagged Frank Sinatra for a good time, and she's that way today. She has these great stories to tell, and whether you believe them or not, she's part of the Hollywood mythology, she's part of the mix, and she's just part of the whole scene, and I love her.
Whether you believe it or not, and I agree.
Yeah.
Same as this man who wrote this wonderful book called Scotty Bowers, got a book out now about sex lives of the stars. I don't believe any of that. I just don't, that's all. I don't believe that. But it's the same thing. A lot of people are not going to believe your mother's story about the mafia.
They don't want to believe that.
They don't want to believe it.
You have the best stories.
Yeah.
But with regard to the mob, the perfect murder is not killing somebody and they don't catch you.
No.
That's good. But the perfect murder is making it look like a suicide and the police don't even investigate it. That's the perfect murder.
Well, Brandon James
and that's what happened.
Darling, thank you so much
for
coming. You look wonderful. And Brandon, the book, This My Wild Life, you can get this in any bookstore, right?
Barnes & Noble,
Barnes & Noble, and you have
Amazon,
to, Jeannie Carmen, and it's such a great book. But so many pages. Woo! This is a Bible, my darling. It's got some great pictures in here, too.
Brandon and I are partners.
Is that?
Brandon and I are partners.
Oh, okay. Jeannie Carmen, one of the favorite ladies of the queen of the movies.
And worthy of having a movie made about her. I think it would be a great role for
it
an
will
actress.
be.
Yeah.
For who?
For an actress, a young up-and-coming actress. It could be a really great role.
A good role, yeah. Someone who's not even out there yet.
Yeah.
I agree with
an
you.
unknown.